The Big 12, which is now the Big 16, is a fun conference. At least it was, especially last year. High flying offenses, only a couple of good defenses. But you want to win championships as a conference to get status going towards the future, like the Big Ten and the SEC has accumulated with national titles over the last few years, sending people to the NFL. You want to be that conference, right? I think the Big 12 is building from within very nicely after losing their two best programs in Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC. After last season, Arizona State won this league, came out of nowhere, and they did it with good defense. I expect defense will get better across this conference going forward. And it has to be entertaining once again this season and maybe more legitimate in their conference. Maybe they are a more legitimate conference. Because out of conference, I think they only have 8 losses. 2 of those are actually in conference because oddly, they play conference games that don't count towards conference record. So, but I only have 8 losses out of conference for this team, for this conference, which means I expect the Big 12 to get 12 teams going bowling. They're at least going to be 6-6 out of the 16 teams. And up to 4 teams in this conference, I believe, could make the playoff. But obviously that depends heavily on the Big Ten and the SEC and how they do. Fair or not fair, them are the 2 conferences that have separated themselves in every category metric that you want to look at. National titles, NFL drafts, recruiting, all that stuff. The Big 12 I think, has a better shot. I've already done the SEC where they have 20 non-conference losses. So the Big 12 has a good shot in getting multiple teams in to the playoff this season. But first, we're going to start with the teams who is not going bowling, and that is Cincinnati. A far cry from making the playoff when it was a 4-team playoff to now, where I think they go 2-10. They're going to beat Bowling Green and Northwestern State, but that's it. And the rest of them are losses, 0-9 in conference, and a loss to Nebraska out of conference for Cincinnati is what I have predicted. All right, Arizona is going to go 4-8. They're going to beat Hawaii, Weber State, Kansas at home. That's a toss-up, but I think they get Kansas at home. And then at Cincinnati is going to be a win. They're 2-1 in the non-conference and 2-7 in the Big 12. Same as these next 2 teams, both 4-8 as well. Houston and Colorado. Houston's going to beat SFA. What was that? Stephen F. Austin or something. They're going to win at Rice. They're going to beat Arizona at home, and they're going to beat West Virginia at home as well. 2-1 non-conference, 2-7 Big 12. Colorado 4-8. Yes, big drop off after they lose their 2 best players. Maybe 2 of the best players in the nation, especially Travis Hunter on the defense. Shadur Sanders at quarterback. I think Prime and company is going to fall off a little bit here. They will beat Delaware. They'll win at Houston. They'll beat Wyoming at home and Arizona at home. 2-1 non-conference, but 2-7 in the Big 12. There are no 5-7 teams that I have predicted for the Big 12, so we go right to bowl-eligible teams. And I think 8 of the next 8 teams will be within 6-6 and 8-4. So it is going to be a fun conference yet again. Maybe the elite will creep to the top, just like a healthy conference should. Both the Big Ten and the SEC do this, but there's a middle pack here. The Big 12 has, and they're all going to beat the shit out of each other. We start with West Virginia, 6-6 is what they're going to go. They're going to beat Robert Morris. They're going to win at Ohio. They'll beat Pitt at home, Utah at home, TCU at home, and Colorado at home. 3-0 in the non-conference, but only 3-6 in the Big 12. Oklahoma State is going to go 6-6. UTM, Tulsa, at Arizona, Houston, Cincinnati, Iowa State are all going to be wins. Yes, even Iowa State, which might keep them out of a playoff. We'll see. 2-1 in the non-conference for Oklahoma State and 4-5 within the Big 12. Next up is a 7-5 team, which is Kansas. They're going to beat Fresno, Wagner. At Missouri, they're going to go on the road and beat Missouri. West Virginia at home, Cincinnati, Kansas State at home, Oklahoma State, all at home. They're going to go 3-0 in the non-conference and 4-5 in the Big 12. Now, a couple of 7-5 teams that are going to go 5-4, winning records within the Big 12. I have TCU, 7-5. They're going to be Abilene Christian. They have SMU at home. And I think they win that game. Colorado, Baylor, Iowa State. Then they have Houston on the road, and they're going to win that game. Cincinnati, these are not in order, just their wins right there. They're going to go 2-1 in the non-conference, 5-4 in the Big 12. Kansas State, similarly, will beat North Dakota. They'll beat Army. They'll win at Arizona. They'll beat UCF, TCU, at Oklahoma State, and then Colorado at home. Yes, big losses for Kansas State, and I'll tell you who beats them here coming up. But 2-1 in the non-conference, 5-4 in the Big 12 as well. Now 8-4 teams here. Utah, yes, they're gonna bounce back, have at least a better record than last season. They're gonna win at UCLA. They'll beat Cal Poly. They will win at Wyoming. Texas Tech at home is something that I had to go over that matchup a little bit, but that's Utah's at home. Colorado at home, they're going to win. Cincinnati at home, Kansas State, and they're going to win at Kansas as well. 3-0 in the non-conference, and their losses are going to be to West Virginia on the road, Arizona State, BYU, and Baylor both on the road. UCF is next. They are going to play Jacksonville State. They're going to win that game. North Carolina A&T or something. They'll win that. North Carolina comes to town, to Florida. And I think you get that win over Bill Belichick and company. Then you beat Lance Leopold and company with Kansas. Then you go to Cincinnati and win that game. West Virginia at home, Houston at home, and Oklahoma State at home are wins for Central Florida, and they will go 3-0 in the non-conference. Their losses are going to be at Kansas State, at Baylor, at Texas Tech, and at BYU. Mark it down. All right, Baylor is the last 8-4 team. The last of these 8 teams that are just going to beat up on each other. Samford is a win for Baylor. They're going to win at Oklahoma State relatively early in the season. Kansas State at home. At Cincinnati. UCF. Utah. at Arizona, and Houston at home are all wins for Baylor. Problem is that it's 1 and 2 in the non-conference, but their losses are to Auburn and SMU on the road out of conference, and then they're going to lose to Arizona State and TCU on the road in conference. So that is their 4 losses. So I'm going to try and keep this under 20 minutes here, just like I have for the first 2 videos. The SEC conference is next, but the next 4 teams in the Big 12 are possible playoff teams, with this next one being the least possible of those teams, and that is Iowa State. I think they go 9-3. Now listen, 9-3 is a viable team from one conference or another. They're going to have the best record, or the best strength of record, the best resume basically, to have not an automatic bid, but they could be selected, which is Iowa State. From the Big 12, 9-3, but I have, if that was the case, well, we'll get to it anyway. Iowa State is going to go 9-3. That's what I have. I'm a believer in Matt Campbell. I love their defense. They're one of the defenses in this conference. They're going to beat Kansas State in a neutral site week 1. I think that is not one of the in-conference, non-conference games. So that is conference, and that matters. So they're going to do that. They're going to beat South Dakota. They're going to beat Iowa at home, the in-state rival. They have won a couple, where at least one recently versus Iowa. Iowa used to own that. Now they have the upper hand here, maybe. But they are going to win this season. So that's 3 wins for them. They're going to win at Arkansas State. Why is Iowa State going at Arkansas State? This is something that I don't understand. These Power 4 teams that are going on the road to play in lesser classification school. I don't know, but it's a win for you. You're going to go there and win. Maybe it's a recruiting tool. Some of the Arkansas State people or public around that area sees Iowa in their brand, and you come in there and whoop their ass. Maybe it resonates with them. Maybe that's the thing. But you're going to win that game. And then you're going to beat Arizona. You're going to win at Cincinnati. You're going to beat BYU, which is a team that's coming up next here. Arizona State. Yes, you're going to beat Arizona State as well. And then Kansas, too, at home. 3-0 in the non-conference, but those losses are going to be crucial to you. I don't know if your offense can keep up with your defense, and therefore I think Colorado on the road is a loss, TCU on the road, and at Oklahoma State as well. All 3 of those are your losses. So BYU is next. We got 3 teams to go here in the Big 12. BYU is going to go 10-2. Now, Jake Retzlaff has internal problems with his own school. We don't know if he's going to stay. I think he's already entered the transfer portal. But it only affected me it only affected one game, in my opinion, because BYU, I did a series of national title contenders, and BYU is my dark horse with Jake Retzlaff. And now that he may not be the guy, it doesn't matter, because I went through the entire roster. Go look at that video and tell me that isn't going to win 10 games in the Big 12 this season. Full of grown men. And listen to the schedule. They have Portland State and Stanford at home. At ECU. At Colorado is going to be a win. West Virginia is a win. At Arizona is a win. Utah at home. TCU at home. At Cincinnati and UCF. That's 10 wins right there. Their 2 losses are going to be at Iowa State and at Texas Tech, 2 of these teams that could make a playoff. So there you go. You got BYU sitting there, 3-0 in the non-conference. Texas Tech is next. I think they go 10-2 as well. They're going to be Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, and Oregon State. They'll win at Houston. They'll beat Kansas, Oklahoma State. They have a win at Kansas State, UCF, BYU, and then they win at West Virginia as well. 3-0 in the non-conference, 2 in-conference losses at Utah and at Arizona State. And that is the last team, Arizona State. I think they get back to prominence yet again this season. 11-1 is my prediction for them in the regular season. They're going to beat Northern Arizona, at Mississippi State, Texas State, at Baylor, TCU, at Utah, Texas Tech, Houston, West Virginia, at Colorado, and then Arizona. 3-0 in the non-conference. Their only loss in conference is to Iowa State on the road. So who will play for the automatic bid versus Arizona State? These regular season results mean that Arizona State would be in the Big 12 championship game with just 1 conference loss. And because Iowa State had 3 conference losses, they are out because of the two loss conference teams within the Big 12, which is BYU and Texas Tech. But since Texas Tech beat BYU in the regular season, they will play Arizona State in the championship game. And so it will be 11-1 Arizona State versus 10-2 Texas Tech. And this will be the first rematch that I've done of the 3 conferences that I've done so far. I already did the Big Ten and the ACC. This will be the first rematch of the regular season within a conference championship game. And Arizona State will win this game. And they will earn the automatic playoff bid. Kenny Dillingham is looking to repeat as Big 12 champions and go further into the playoff, and I think he will. Sam Leavitt returns at quarterback. The schedule is, dare I say, favorable for this team. So Arizona State will win the conference. I think Iowa State at 9-3 is probably left out, as I said, because 2 prominent teams in the Big Ten have that same exact record at 9-3. So they're probably going to be left out. And then Texas Tech at 10-3 after losing that conference championship game to Arizona State. Beat 10-2 BYU in the regular season. So I think they would be ahead of BYU in the playoff selection. So how many teams are going to get in from the conference? The conference I have left to do is the SEC, who will have great records of their own. And the Big Ten is going to have great records, the ACC plus Notre Dame. And then there's the G5 representative. There are only 12 spots. So my playoff bracket is almost complete. I will tell you what it is. And then I will fill out that said bracket and pick a winner for the national championship. So stay tuned for all of that on this channel. Trying to go 20 minutes long here for every conference. Thanks to everybody out there watching. And have a great day. And go blue. Some people are red, and that's just wrong. Thank you, everybody.